Welcome back to another episode of the Scoop Around the Loop. We got the full squad with us here today: Andrew, Tyler, Brady, and myself, Thomas. How is your week going, guys?
Going good.
No, I can't complain, Thomas.
Oh.
Thanks for asking. We're being productive so far this week. So, yeah.
Andrew, do we want to talk a little bit about what happened this weekend? We are on opposing sides of a transaction. I guess I'm also on opposing sides of Tyler on a transaction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
we got our listing sold in West Des Moines. It's people that come through a few open houses, came through. Thomas was there. Thomas hit it off with them. The rest is history, as they say. Everybody's getting a win here, I think.
Inspections tomorrow. Hopefully the transaction goes well. You did make some threatening claims to me over the phone, though.
Who did?
Me,
Andrew.
I told him when he's on the other side of the fence from us on transactions, it's difficult. When you're on when you're on the same side of the fence.
Yes, we
fun.
purposely make the other agent's life a living hell while we're in there because that's
For no reason. For no reason at all. That's what we do.
You guys have been nothing but great to work with. I don't know what you're talking about.
Will you leave us a Google review then?
Will you leave me a Google review?
Do you have a Google page?
Funny story about that. I do have a Google page,
he has
but Google.
It's a Bing page.
Do people still use that, you think?
I saw something on Bing the other day. I don't remember what it said, but that's why it was in my head because I saw some meme about Bing. And then like Ask Jeeves was the original Chat GPT.
Yeah, you had to actually ask the question.
Yeah, like what was it, 242 or something like that, and you could say like, "What's the weather like in Toronto?" And it would text me.
Wait, was that Cha Cha?
That was Cha Cha.
Oh.
Ask Jeeves was the website. Yeah, Cha Cha.
Yeah.
Was 242. I wonder if that's still a thing.
Okay.
Anyways,
this censor. Goodness gracious.
Let's talk about some local news first. Specifically local to me, because Black Cat Ice Cream is now open in the Valley Junction. You guys been here yet? You guys been to Black Cat Ice Cream?
You know, I drove by it.
Andrew?
I drove by it the other day. I just saw it signage for it. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. I didn't know there was even like buildup around it. So,
Well, they've been in the Drake neighborhood for 10 years. And they opened this one on the 10-year anniversary of the place existing. It's small batch, homemade ice cream, rotating flavors, and in my opinion, it's the best ice cream you can get in the Des Moines area. Brady, Tyler, have you guys ever been there?
I have not, but I do have a black cat. His name is Buddy, so I might have to try it out.
Oh,
you got to bring a picture of Buddy to the restaurant too, and they might post it on the wall.
Ooh, good idea. Good idea.
Tyler, yes. what's your review? You like Black Cat ice cream?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been to the Drake one. I also have a Black Cat, and Binks is on the wall at the Drake one.
Let's go. Look out for Binks next time you're on at the Drake one.
Like every other Black Cat up there.
I was going to say, you probably
there's
don't
a couple. Some people have like the tuxedo Black Cats with like the white bow tie right here on their fur. But I remember when they first opened, I was kind of bummed out because it used to be Woody's Smoke Shack in the Drake neighborhood, and that was in college. That was by far the first part of college. That was by far my favorite restaurant. So that took the place of it, and it's very, very unique ice cream, like you said. A whole bunch of different flavors, but there's enough flavors where you can find something that sounds good. I'm personally not a big fruit dessert type of person. I don't like pies. I don't like, stuff like that. So raspberry ice cream isn't really my jam. I'm more traditional, just like chocolate and peanut butter. So some of their stuff is far out there. But it is, when I order something, it is very good ice cream, but usually it's on the more basic side of things that they have to offer.
You just put a basket of cookies in his face, and he's good.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookies and vanilla ice cream. I mean, like again, their basic stuff is very, very good, but I can't speak to the more
The crazier flavors.
which is kind of what they're known for, I feel like. But you asked the question last week, what's a good spot to take out of towners? I would say Black Cat Ice Cream is a very good spot. And both neighborhoods are perfect neighborhoods for it, I would say.
Oh yeah, I mean so last year for the farmers market, they brought their truck down to the farmers market every Thursday, and they were always busy. So I think during the farmers market time, they're going to be busy. All the older women out there antique shopping are going to want to stop by this place, and it's going to be great for Valley Junction, I think.
Yeah, like I mean, it would get business, but a place like this just wouldn't feel right in a West Glen storefront, you know?
Right, right. Well, and honestly, you have to specifically drive to the spot that it's in the Drake neighborhood too. So I'm super excited that they're going to be in a place that people are actually going to be walking around and just walking by a lot, stuff like that too.
You can walk down there, you can get your ice cream, and you and Jen can walk home while eating ice cream. So like you're burning the calories while you're walking.
Well,
and enjoying ice cream.
In true story, Jen manifested this because if we have time every night, we will walk down to the market and then back up, just kind of like a quick 20-25 minute walk and stuff like that, just to get moving after dinner. And she mentioned it would be really cool if we had something to walk to, like an ice cream place, like Black Cat would be perfect. And then, not joking, like 2 or 3 months later, they announced that they were opening this place up. So the next thing she's trying to manifest is a donut shop in Valley Junction.
Kind of
so
sounds like
Jen, the all-knowing.
Kind of sounds like witchcraft a little bit. That Black Cat.
I feel like they need like a diner, like a breakfast diner. They have St. Kilda's, but that's not really like
that's high end.
Yeah, like pancakes and.
Yeah, Bix & Co. does a brunch breakfast, and then so does Mitzi's, but they don't have like a diner type vibe.
Yeah, like Waveland type, like old school breakfast.
Sign me up. If Waveland wanted to open up something in Valley Junction, I would be very, very happy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Do any of you guys have a favorite dessert spot that you guys go to?
Culver's ice cream. I'm not a dessert guy. Like my family is. Like my wife and kids, they love dessert. Like they'll stop eating dinner so there's room for dessert. I'm not a dessert guy. Cookies are good for me. Good with me. They're not good for me, but good with me. Chocolate
Culver's
chip,
frozen custard
chocolate
is
chip cookie dough. Do you know you can walk into Culver's and you can buy 4 pints for $12, like the Ben and Jerry's size pints?
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, we do it all the time. And then if you buy their bag, when you bring the bag in, it's $8. So I'm sure like somewhere like they make money on all that, but yeah. So then you can get kind of a smorgasbord of ice cream flavors. Sorry,
Brady,
frozen custard flavors.
Brady, you got a spot?
I'm not a big dessert guy either, but what does come to mind is the Waukee ice cream shop. Tyler said he didn't like raspberry flavored ice cream, but that's actually my go-to at the Waukee ice cream shop.
I think Tyler said that, didn't he?
Yeah,
he said that.
You said you do like it?
No, I don't like it.
Tyler's the one that said that.
Yeah, he said Tyler.
You starting a fight with Thomas.
No, but yeah, I like the black raspberry they have there.
I would say we live up the street from Van D's, which just opened 2 days ago. We haven't been there yet, but I'm sure this weekend maybe we like to walk down there. If we walk down there, it's like a mile there, a mile back. Then I really feel like
you deserved it.
Even though I get like a huge one, because I love ice cream, and I like ice cream with Reese's peanut butter cups in it, and that type of thing. And then, like Andrew said, cookies. Those two things are my jam. But Van D's now is probably like kind of the local spot. Polk City has a really good place on the square, the Creamery. Good spot. But then
Van D's is good because it's still like old school. Like it's
Yeah,
like the
locally
holdout.
owned,
It's
high
like
school
that
kids.
holdout in that area. Everything's new except for Van D's.
Yeah, it's high school kids working in there, and then everyone knows this spot. But Snooki's over in Beaverdale when we used to live in Beaverdale. Same thing. We used to walk there.
Iconic sign too. Every time I
Yeah.
drive by Snooki's, I just
Do I have that sign up right now? No, I still need to hang it. I have a sign from Boss Prince that's Snooki's, but yeah, that can get very, very busy. Which, depending on your mood, it's kind of fun to be in the mix of things, and the intersection is cool there. So those two spots probably.
Snooki's has been around for like a long time, hasn't it?
I mean, as long as Hannah's been getting it since she was a little kid growing up in that neighborhood. So,
and you guys can continue to get Snooki's because in case everybody missed it, Tyler's not moving to Colorado.
Yeah,
that was
people are ridiculous.
That was an April
So,
Fool's
in case
joke.
anyone missed it, Tyler made an April Fool's Day joke that he got his license in Colorado and he's moving to Colorado. Did you specify what city you were moving to?
Colorado Springs.
Colorado
I felt like Denver would be too generic. I don't know. Even though Colorado Springs is big too, I guess. But
people
How many
people kept asking me like, why didn't you guys do something in the hashtags or like give it away? Because we didn't want everyone to say April Fool's right away. So there was there was a plan behind it.
I got the reaction that I wanted. I'm not annoyed, but my mother and mother-in-law are ridiculous.
What'd they do?
They got hurt. Apparently, I made both of them cry. And like, do you guys really think that little of me to where you think I would just make this announcement on social media and not have like several conversations with you about it if I was to do something like that? And my mom's like, well, I don't know. Like the post was just pretty convincing. And I was like, I can write sometimes. That was like the one thing I was good at in school. Every once in a while I could type up a convincing story or something like that. But I was like, my mother-in-law and my mother were ridiculous.
You made some people cry on April 1st. Good for you.
So Tyler and I
then the funniest one, I got a text yesterday. My mom's cousin that lives in Denver, used to I get go to Denver Broncos games with sometimes. He texts me. He's the biggest jokester. He always has been my whole life. He's 60-something years old. Still jokes around with everybody. He texts me talking about you shouldn't do that. He said that's BS. You shouldn't do stuff like that. I said, you of all people?
Because the jokester got joked.
Yeah.
Tyler and I were first of all, I thought that logo I had on there was fire, and I wish it
was good. I think that's why it convinced people because it kind of looked like
the logo was the best part, in my opinion.
So Tyler and I were actually driving up to Gardner, Iowa, with our dad because he had knee surgery last week. He can't drive. We went up there to see his brother, who's not doing well, and Tyler and I, went obviously, and so Tyler's kind of writing that up as we're going up, post it, and then when we're there, our cousin, our uncle's youngest son was there, who's from Colorado, and he gets a text from his wife that says Hannah and Tyler are moving to Colorado. It's like we're sitting right next to him, and he kind of looked at it sort of like as a joke.
And the funny thing with that is like we don't see our cousin Sam nearly as much as we probably should too. So it's not like that was like a one-off thing that we were sitting right next to him.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, but we're staying, or Tyler's staying in the 515. I guess I'm staying too.
I was gonna say Andrew's also staying.
I can continue to eat Snooki's and Van D's, like Andrew said. So win-win.
Yeah, how could you move away from that?
I'm sure I could find some spots out there, but anyways.
So the next thing I had planned was I pulled up some market stats for DMAR stats comparing resale single family to resale townhome. Andrew, what would you kind of expect to see comparing those two? Do you think there's one that's like way hotter than the other? Do you think they're going to look about the same?
I would anticipate they're, I think resale probably goes faster, or single family usually goes faster than townhomes. I do feel like townhomes are kind of a dime a dozen sometimes, but
Tyler, what do you think? You're muted.
What do I expect to see in the stats, you mean, between
Yeah.
the two? I would say a resale townhome has probably been on the market for, compared to a single family home,
Yeah.
the market for much longer. At least that's been our recent experience with townhomes, is just because maybe in my head, people have options within a townhome community.
Right.
If there's multiple townhomes for sale, it's a little bit harder for your townhome to get picked, I guess.
And then Brady, what do you expect, like, typically, like, when you're telling people when you're looking at a townhome versus a single family home, like, what are some expectations, like, you would tell those buyers, like, based off of what Andrew and Tyler just said?
Well, I mean, we talked a little bit before. So you're saying, sorry.
When you're talking to someone about buying one, when you're talking to them about, like, what to expect when it comes for them to sell.
Oh, yeah. So typically a townhome, they're not really going to see the appreciation that you would in a single family home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the value after they sell in 3 years with a townhome compared to if they were just in a regular house is not going to be as large of an increase.
Right. And it's harder to, like, a lot of times with the single family home, you could go into it and it's easier to get a return on investment on improvements too. But a townhome, Andrew, Tyler, you can disagree with me if you don't think I'm saying something completely wrong. But townhome, there is like a certain cap to how much value you can add, right?
That's so wrong. No, I'm kidding. I agree. I think, again, in a townhome, you have so many comps that are exactly alike.
Yeah.
You know, so like you don't see typically, if you're talking about over the course of 5 years, if you have this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhome that's 1,200 square feet, you're seeing all the same, all the same comps. So the next person just listed at the same thing, unless they have significant updates to it. And then you kind of
even so, you could go in there and do a full-blown kitchen remodel and remodel the bathrooms too and everything like that. There's still kind of it's very, very tough to get that value back. So
yeah, I agree. I think it just has to do with so many comps that are.
So I'm not gonna lie, these stats kind of surprised me a little bit. I'll walk through them really quick. Townhomes months of inventory was 3.3 compared to single family being 2.4. Median days on market for townhomes was 24 compared to 19 for single family. Price per square foot, this wasn't surprising, 165 compared to 197 basically. And Andrew gave me this idea. I pulled out sold price versus the original list price for both of these, and both of them were at 97%. So they're really not as far apart as I thought they would be, don't you think?
So really no, it's not. But maybe for a listing strategy, whatever your number is, just times it by 97.97, and that's your price.
Yeah, if you want to put it at the right price. I also wonder, like, this is going to sound negative when I say this. I wonder if there's agents that do a lot of volume that are just bad at pricing homes, or just kind of give in to the owner and list it at whatever they want to list it at. You know what I'm saying? And this is the median percentage, not the average. So when you do median, it should kind of take out some of those outliers.
Mm-hmm.
But if you dig into the stats and look at it, there are just quite a few that, like, they got nowhere close to what they were listed at. So, like, there's quite a few that are just bringing down that number, where I feel like hopefully you have a good agent that gets you right at that number and you don't struggle too much and you sell it quickly and everything like that. I think the next project I'm going to go into is, I don't know what the bucket's going to be, but I want to look at maybe if it's sold within 5 days compared to if it took 30 days plus, and kind of dig into the sold to list price. I think might be one of my next projects. I'm just talking out loud.
No, yeah. I mean, I think the median days on market kind of surprised just on townhomes. I would think it'd be a little bit more than that even, but just based off of our recent experience listing townhomes over the past year or so.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they've been sitting a little bit, but then I get to thinking, like, I think with resale townhomes, it's either going to sell right away because it's, updated and well kept, and ultimately that's what a lot of townhome buyers want. And that's the reason they're buying a townhome, is low maintenance. And if a townhome is nice and updated and clean and move-in ready, those things sell like that. It's those townhomes that need a little bit of work, because generally speaking, again, the townhome buyers don't want to do a bunch of work that sit longer. And so maybe that's.
And I will say,
there's two outliers making up that median, if that makes sense. Like, it's a wide range. I think it either sells really, really quick, or it takes a little bit if the townhome is kind of outdated. So that's something that sellers can keep in mind. Is there things, can you replace the flooring, or offer up credits up front to get flooring replaced? That's probably some stuff to keep in mind if you're selling a townhome, especially knowing that, again, especially townhomes that need some work might take a little bit longer to sell.
And I think that they need to remind themselves too, like that inventory number is a decent difference. I mean, almost a month different of inventory. So you do have a lot more competition in the townhome market.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like when we listed our good friend of the podcast, Marquis and Bethany's townhome, and I know he won't care at all if I use his as an example. We had it listed, and I told them it might take a couple months or so, like full transparency. It ended up being like 4 months. They moved out and everything. And what the issue was the whole time there was 4 or 5 other townhomes listed in that community. And it's just, I think those developments go through cycles, because most of the time people aren't there forever. They're there for a handful of years, and sometimes it just times up like that. So that can make it tough. And yeah, sometimes you see developments that are huge that have 6 or 7 places for sale. This is a little bit different, but the other day I showed a condo at the Kirkwood Hotel, and you go into the lockbox room and there's literally 40 lockboxes in there. It's hard to, maybe not 40, 20 lockboxes like hanging up on the wall. So it's hard to stand out. And
it stinks, because the only 2 options you really have to stand out are to make sure yours is in the best condition, or to make sure yours is in the lowest price. Otherwise, you're just kind of staying patient and waiting for someone to hopefully pick yours to write an offer on.
Yeah, I think too, like there was a discussion the other day on one of those Facebook groups about a house that has new HVAC, new mechanicals and all that stuff. And so I think you run into this issue with townhomes is you can only do so much to improve it. So the discussion was about, does a new HVAC system, new water heater, all that stuff, actually add value to the house? And I think the consensus was no. I don't believe it does, because every house needs those things to function as it's intended. Now, if you have 2 houses next to each other, and they're the same price, and one has, or maybe one's a little more where it's all new HVAC, the one that has the new systems might sell faster. But nonetheless, it doesn't make it more valuable. Just like a car with new brakes isn't more valuable than a car with low brakes left, low pad left, because without brakes at all, you don't have a functioning car. And so as it relates to townhomes, you can only do so much to really improve the townhome if nobody else, because they're a dime a dozen a lot of times. If nobody else is doing those improvements, it's really hard to justify spending $15,000 on a bathroom and raising your price $15,000 because of it. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely does help you sell faster. Especially, I have this people ask me this all the time with roofs as well. It definitely does help it sell faster, but it doesn't necessarily add any value. And if it does, it's a very minuscule amount.
And I would say the biggest benefit of having like a new roof or siding and stuff like that is you just know your trouble is saved once you get under contract and inspection comes around. Like, you just know you won't have to shell out a couple $1,000s to have some repairs done and stuff like that. Because again, your house has, like you said, like you guys both said, the house has to have siding. So again, the value, I think a lot of that is going to come during inspection. You just know those things aren't going to be issues. And if you got them done recently, if there is something wrong, the roofer or siding company will probably come out and fix them.
Sweet. So the next thing I had pulled up was in that real story segment. And I wanted to talk about, because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying the number one skill that you had to have as a real estate agent was to be good at sales. So I thought it would just be interesting to go around the table and just say, what do you think the number one skill that you need to have as an agent is?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
I would say communication. You have to be able to communicate, and I think there's some salesmanship to that. Now, I'll say this: I've never sold a house a day in my life, and I tell a lot of people that, and they're like, "That doesn't make any sense." But Thomas, I remember when you were looking for a house, and I was your agent. We saw a bunch of homes, and I thought some were pretty cool, but you never got like that feeling of like, this is it. And then we walked into the house that you have now, that you see in your video there.
You ain't left yet.
And I figured out, or like we just felt like that was the one. I remember you looked at me, you're like, how's this available? And
Andrew made me go see this house without even pictures posted, by the way.
Yeah, I remember they had one of the sellers.
Give us a tour of it. Show us your bedroom.
I'm good.
I remember one of the sellers had a pretty good shoe collection, so we were looking through the shoes to kind of judge them.
You check the bottom of their sole to see if they're supinating or pronating.
No, they had some good. They had like some good.
They had some really nice dress shoes.
I thought that they had some good ASIC, like GT 2000s. Like they had a pretty good. Yeah, like so they weren't skimping on their shoes, but but my point.
Did I tell you that he used to be a shoe salesperson?
Maybe you did.
Yeah, the seller, he ended up messaging me because a week later he accidentally ordered a TV to my house. I really wanted to keep it, but we messaged a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I see that you work at Shields as a shoe salesman. I used to do that at blah 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 place. I forget, but
wasn't it Browns or something?"
Probably, yeah.
But I guess the point is I remember telling you, like, trust your gut, and someone told me, like, don't tell them to do that. Tell them to just get the house. I'm like, yeah, I think as soon as I convince somebody to offer on a house because I want to get paid, I think is, the second something goes wrong with that house, they're going to think of me, and they're going to, oh, Andrew convinced me to buy this money pit, and so I think that you can, to that point, I think you can feel like this is a perfect house for you without it being the perfect house in general, if that makes sense. Like, not everything's working, not everything's perfect, but it's like it fits you perfectly. And I think when you walk in. And so I tell people all the time, like we're advisors in this. Like we do our marketing, we do our sales through, the point leading up to you choosing to work with us. Like we're making our sales pitch. This is why you should work with us. But once you work with us, we're not selling you anything. Mm-hmm. And so we're reminding you that, hey, you said you really wanted a 4-bedroom house, and this is a 2-bedroom house. Like, are you sure? But at the end of the day, it's them that's offering. They're the ones living in it. And so we're just advisors in the process. And so I think the most important thing is communication. And I wasn't really, really good at it when I started, but you kind of learn, these are things, this is all second nature to us because we've been doing this for a while. Like, oh, we should probably communicate, like, when you should change your utilities or things like that. And so communicating just can save a lot of hassle and really, and it, not just save hassle, but create peace when we're laying everything out for them.
When I think that was just a peek into like what I think our whole team's mindset is too, is we're in this to build relationships and build clients that not only are going to use us for this purchase, but to sell their house and buy a new one when it comes up too. And that's not that relationship is not going to go well if we strong arm them into offering on the first house that they see on a Saturday and stuff like that.
And they might buy it, and we might get, we get paid, but that might be the last time we ever talk to them.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a good experience for them, and that's not what we're interested in.
Brady, what's one of the skills that jumps to your mind, like one of the most important things an agent has to have?
I would say, to me, just knowledge and like knowing all the different areas and what you can get. I mean, a lot of people everyone wants the Lamborghini, right? But sometimes that's not always what is available at that point in time. And it's finding, that the features that they think are in that Lamborghini and something that might be a better fit for them. And like, that's something that I'm also learning too. Like, as I'm going as a new agent, I'm learning more every day. And especially working with people that are more first-time home buyers, it's okay, well, you like this part, but here are the downfalls, and then just finding them they're a good fit. I mean, basically, and how to guide them through the entire process. And like Andrew kind of said, the communication part of it is big, and just working with them and knowing what and how to help them with that.
And the biggest thing with the communication side of things too is like the listening part of it, right? Because like it can get really tricky to not only listen to what someone is saying, but understand what they're saying. And like you were talking about, Brady, why do they want that Lamborghini? What particular features? And then kind of solving that problem for them and putting it all together for them. Tyler, what do you think?
I'm trying to pull this back. I think those two things that Andrew and Brady both mentioned are like the only two skills you really need. So I would say those are most, I would agree with both of those things. Along the lines with Andrew, obviously communication, you can also say that's like a very broad spectrum. That's why I like that answer. It could come down to like communicating like the process and once you're in the home buying process, but it also comes down to like just being able to talk to people that aren't a white 30-year-old kid that grew up in West Des Moines like me. I know a lot of people who are just very similar to that, and I do well talking to them, but I try to get better at talking to people that are very different than me or a little bit different than me and everywhere in between. So I would probably say that's my biggest thing that I've like tried to be intentional about over the years, is just getting better at leaving like your first thoughts at the door, because your initial prejudice of people, it's natural, everybody does it. So like just getting that stuff out the door and having open conversations with people and asking the forward questions, where you talk about family, occupation, recreation, like what do you do for fun, and then dreams. I feel like that really, really helps them open up and you to genuinely connect with people. So if we're talking, what makes a good agent in terms of like generating business, I would say that'd be a huge thing, because I think that makes you likable. And most of all, I think people have to like you to want to be for you to be their real estate agent. Very rarely do I think people like dislike their real estate agent, at least not in the beginning of the process. And I just finished this book for like the 6th time. I'm sure a lot of people have read this. I just finished it. I just reread it last week, but The Happiness Advantage. I would say figuring out a way to at least be happy around your clients, whether you're happy before and after. Nobody is trying to hear your sad story and be around you if you're down and out. And I think that's something that I personally excel in. There's a long list of things that I could be better at, but I feel like I'm pretty good at being genuinely, or putting off the impression that I'm happy when I'm around clients and talking to them on the phone and stuff like that. So yeah. And to the knowledge bit, I would say to not only just about like real estate in general, but also, or like the points that Brady was making, but also like the rules and regulations and the more minute things. Like that's, I think, what kind of separates someone that knows a lot about real estate and experts. And that's what we're supposed to be.
Or just knowledge of things that you've seen before, and like pitfalls that other people have gotten into with transactions, and kind of anticipating stuff that might come up too. I think that can make you really, really valuable. And I think, like Tyler was saying, like genuinely getting to know your clients, I think the more you know a client and know kind of what gets them excited or what they're afraid of and stuff like that, you can help them navigate some parts of this that I think can end up being really, really stressful. I don't ask me why, but I was looking through your guys' Google reviews, and I think a good 60 to 70% of them mentioned how low stress the transaction was. And I think it is something that can be very, very stressful. So I think that's a really good compliment to get. So, and I think that
I've worked with other real estate agents and just other people that kind of do similar roles, you know, or fulfill similar roles as we do in other aspects of life, that bring the stress to the situation because they're stressed out and high strung and annoying. So I try my best not to be those things personally. So hopefully that those reviews are true and that they do feel low stress, because I try my best to be low stress, and I know Andrew does the same. Like a lot of stuff can happen at the end of the day. Like you're buying a $500,000 home that you're about to live in. Life is good, you know, and be able to work through stuff. But
all peace, no pressure. That's how we
yeah. Well, and I think when you're buying a house, like there are certain things that'll come up and it can seem like the biggest deal in the world. And it's just important to take a step back and say something exactly what Tyler just said. It's like, hey, like it is an issue. Some people would get stressed about this, but like, let's find the solution and let's just move forward. Let's not make a mountain out of a molehill here. Whereas I think there are some other agents that completely blow stuff out of proportion and make their buyers or sellers more stressed out.
I try to have humility and understanding, like at the end of the day, what my job is and how it fits into the grand scheme of life. Like you can sell a house and buy a house by yourself. You can do it. I'm trying to show my value and the reason why you would want to do it with me. And again, like why add a stressful person, annoying, sad, frumpy person to the mix when you can do the stuff by yourself? So just that part, and also keeping in mind, like I'm not in Ukraine right now, or, in the military, or performing brain surgery, or, or a kid in India or something like that, so keeping all that stuff in mind and perspective, I think helps you be a good real estate agent.
If you get down to it, like genuinely, like we're in the service industry, we're not buying an inventory of houses and selling houses. We're helping people sell their house or buy another house. Like we're providing that service. Like Andrew said, we don't sell houses. Like
and I think some people or some agents might lose focus. At the end of the day, we work for buyers and sellers. Like it's not really, it is kind of a partnership in a way, but at the end of the day, we're like kind of their employees.
Yeah.
Or that's kind of how we should treat it, I should say, is, they in a way call the shots. We help call the shots, but
they're our boss.
Yep.
Kind of. Andrew, you got that bracket pulled up?
Yes, sir.
I think depending on how this championship game goes, there's only 4 people that can win. If I looked at it correctly.
Did we do
bracket time?
Yeah, so Nate Maines in Greenfield, Iowa.
I just know he has all the final four, right?
He's in the driver's seat right now. Just so you
and
guys know.
And he has Duke. Oh no!
Oh my gosh!
I'm about to pull it up on my phone.
Terrible. Jeez.
Does Nate Maines have all 4 Final Four teams? Obviously, he does.
So he has Duke winning the whole thing.
That's
this this is so frustrating being in this. I'm going to keep trying to refresh it. But
I would like to point out that out of everyone on this screen right now, I am better than all of you.
You filled out 3 brackets.
Well, let's look at the bottom here. There's me, Tyler. There's the Scoop. There's my other one. There's Tyler's other one. Here's Brady. This is also Tyler. How many did you do, Tyler?
That Tyler,
Isaiah's-
one of them's not me.
Because there's a Tyler.
Was in there.
Oh, there's a Tyler Curtis that is a sales
Yeah.
associate for Florida America.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, dang, Tyler is like the equivalent of Michael these days. My goodness.
So
all
I did-
4 number 1 seeds, which is the last time that happened was when it was in San Antonio the last time.
Hindsight's 2020, but if there was ever a year to pick that, it'd be this year. So I should have done that.
I mean,
more.
it's the number ones were clearly better than everybody else all year. For most of the year, I should say.
Well, yeah, you think about Houston and Duke. I mean, they just ran through everybody in their respective conferences. And Houston, I don't get how they haven't got more love. Like they haven't.
Want to scroll up a little bit, Andrew?
Houston,
because I do think it's kind of fun how it laid out here.
Is that
We've got 1, 2, 3, each have 3 different champions. And then the other interesting part when I was looking at this the other day, you have to scroll down all the way to my brother, I think, at 22nd to have someone that picked Auburn.
Yeah. So is that who's this Nick? That's Nick Drucker, right?
Yeah.
Owen's best? Yeah, that's his son's name. Yeah.
Golly.
I bet he probably let Owen pick it or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just 4 people. I think if Auburn wins, my brother wins, if I did the math correctly.
Wait, what?
Yeah, because he's going to get 32 points for getting the champion, right? And he might need it. He has Auburn beating Houston in the championship game.
That's about as shady as the time I won a Blackstone at Andrew's Realtor bus tour.
Okay.
The one time Tyler comes to an event, his name gets called for the Blackstone. He promptly gets up and leaves.
No. I said I'll grab that in like 5 minutes, and then
then he left.
But I did 100%. I wanted to see what the prizes were before I left.
But yeah, and then
I used that Blackstone tonight or yesterday, and I'm probably gonna use it tonight. So I'll work.
He didn't leave right away because he wanted to see what the prizes were.
And then Courtney, what Courtney is that? Do you guys know?
Courtney Bauer is a good friend of mine.
And she's got Florida winning. And then Torrance, he has Florida winning. Sorry.
It's like Tracy Brady, man.
Or Courtney Lee.
Courtney Bauer designs. He designs homes. Does for DePhillips, for Destination Homes. Does a really good job.
Maybe Tyler Springer someday.
Yeah.
And then we got Torrance that has Houston. So I think it's just down to those 4.
Have you guys gotten an update on Torrance recently? Torrance is in his third rotation of PT school, and he's in Austin, Texas for the next couple months. Shout out to Torrance.
So he's not at Shields today.
Yeah, also a shoe salesman and someone that can tell you if you're pronating or not.
Cool. That's the bracket update. Isn't it?
This sounds very bad, but this sounds really bad. I'm glad my mom's not at the top.
My stepmom is 4th right there.
I get tired of her winning bracket challenges. She always does, it seems like, all my life.
Oh, and I think
when we try to pay her, she goes, "Don't worry about it."
my stepmom is sitting at 4th there, and I think this is the one where she texted me and said, Yahoo has just a fill out random bracket option. And I think that's the one that is that. So
and it does make me feel good. So what the first Nate Maines is set up to, as if it ended today, would get $300. Courtney would get $150 and Torrance would get $50. Is that what the price is?
Yeah.
Nate Maines is that dude. So I'm glad
I think it's
right now.
Yeah. 300, 150, 50. I don't know if that's what you said.
Yeah, I love Nate Maines to death. So I'm glad that he would, and I love a lot of these people to death in here too, but that's a good dude to win $300. So
heck yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Cool. We got a comment. Oh, Tyler, you'll have to rewind.
You'll have to rewind where I was making fun of you earlier in the podcast too. That's funny.
Does anyone have any plans this weekend other than showing houses or watching basketball?
Going to the Wild game Friday with some friends and Going to try to get some yard work done. So when it warms up a little bit, I can get some grass seed down.
What's the
Maisie's
weather?
got her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still kind of cold. It should be dry, I think. Maisie's got her last basketball game Monday or Saturday at 1. So
I was a couple months ago. I had told Anna that we'd go to Chicago this weekend for a long weekend. So she took yesterday or tomorrow and Monday off, but we're not going. So we'll have to figure out something to like go out and do, but I'm not quite sure what that looks like. Probably get on the Blackstone a couple times. Watch basketball. Work out.
Was it rigged? Was the competition rigged for Tyler to win the Blackstone?
no.
Okay.
It's a random number generator.
All right. Brady, you got anything planned this weekend?
Got baseball games on Sunday. I'm coaching 16 U Dogs. Getting locked in.
Dogs.
Is that the team name, or are you just commenting on how hard of work ethic they have?
It's the 3 T's Dogs. DAWGS. No Z, unfortunately.
You got any future prospects on that team?
Oh, for sure. There's a couple of them. We got some.
So Brady, I don't mean to be offensive, but like when you say coach baseball, like in a game, I understand how you coach to develop skill, but like in the course of a game, how exactly do you coach baseball?
Well, I mean,
manage
for
baseball.
lack of a better term, yeah, I guess I manage. I sit on the base coach and tell them to steal and then wave them home to score.
Okay. That's
We
good
do
enough.
a lot of scoring, so my arm gets tired from
Ah,
going like this.
If you've got bad depth perception, you'd be a terrible coach too.
Brady probably just sends them. He just and then
He'll
cusses
get there.
out of the dugout if they get out.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's Yep, that's what I got. I'm sorry, I am managing the game this weekend, not coaching.
You coached them up until this point, and then once it comes game time,
Management mode.
Then I'm
you go in.
manager. I like that.
Okay. Seems like a good weekend. I think
Yeah,
my aunt's coming to town on Saturday. I think we're gonna go to Biaggi's. Pretty stoked about that.
Good
Where's she
weather.
from?
She lives like just outside of Minneapolis.
And you go to Biaggi's?
Yeah, Biaggi's is great.
That's where he's got a gift card to.
You need to take your aunt to Christopher's.
Or Hawaiian
something
Bros.
like that.
Yeah, dude.
Hawaiian Bros.
I don't think my aunt can eat at Hawaiian, bro. She has a gluten intolerance. She has celiac.
Oh.
We'll figure it out.
Find out. Take
This
there and find out.
isn't supposed to be a bash on Thomas's aunt episode. My goodness.
You're the one criticizing that she likes to go to Biaggi's.
No,
He's criticizing that you as a host would take her.
Yeah,
there.
I'm criticizing you.
She likes Biaggi's.
You
They have
should
a
be
great.
Auntie, here's the Des Moines local equivalent to Biaggi's. I guarantee you she'll have a great time there.
I'm
But
pretty
whatever.
sure we've been to Christopher's before with her, and she still wants to go to Biaggi's.
That doesn't sound real.
Then you
But-
didn't go to Christopher's.
Yeah, what? Come on, Thomas.
I
you
like
can't-
Christopher's. The prime rib they have is delicious.
Go to that place down by you. Is it Cooper's on Fifth?
But have you been to a good spot that I want to live vicariously for you because you live down the street? Is that new tavern that they put in the bottom of Val Air? Have you heard about that?
I have, and I've yet to go yet.
Val Air, like, yeah.
The ballroom.
The ballroom, yeah. There's a bar down there now. There's a speakeasy, and then there's a supper club.
Yeah,
down
a
there now.
supper club. That's what it is. That's what they're calling it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have not been to either. And the speakeasy is genuinely like a speakeasy. It's like bare bones, like very low key. It looks cool. I have yet to be to any of those places yet, though. Unfortunately, sorry to let you down.
To get you into the speakeasy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that does.
I don't know the secret. I don't know the phrase to get in.
That looks cool. That looks like the bar on New Girl.
You got to whack somebody to get into the speakeasy.
All right.
Brando.
Do you have to pay? Do you have to pay to be in the supper club?
I don't know.
No, I don't
Is it
think
like
so.
an actual club or it's just called that?
Yeah,
I think it's just called the Supper Club.
Dang, I gotta try that now. I might go there today.
All right. I'm going to go to Black Cat.
Maybe we'll see
Right
each
now?
other.
Yeah, like I think like in 15 minutes, I'm meeting some people at Black Cat.
cute.
So those people weren't us. That's interesting.
I'll be sitting down here in my basement.
Looking for something to do.
It's another good episode. To anyone that is still listening, please check the episode description and follow us everywhere you can and like and share this episode. We appreciate it a lot. Oh, really quick announcement. On Sunday morning, I will be interviewing a local business and we will be doing a bonus episode of this podcast. So
Sick.
be sure to follow and watch out for that. We might be giving away a little bit of a deal too. I haven't officially decided on that, but watch the episode and listen to it to hear on that if you want a good deal on flooring installation. So talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Love you guys.